Congratulations. You just got me. Yes, you did. All right. So, hi, I'm April Williams, and today is Dark Femme Friday. Yes, it is. Okay. So, this is all about how you got me fucked up. um, in reality, I'm a very less spoken person. And when I do speak, mountains move. People seem to be very intimidated by me, and I'm not sure why. Actually, I know exactly why. Because the power of the divine flows through me. I am my Father's child. I am my mother's child. Father God, Mother Earth, here I be, so I am. I came through the cosmic portal, and yes, you can hear me, you can see me, you can feel me, and I know it's true. So if you've tapped in to Dark Femme Fridays, congratulations. You are tapping into the divine that's ready for you to hear it. I was going to change my background, but as the Leo full moon is at this time, and I being a lioness, I decided that it was a good time to just keep it up for a minute. Okay, so what is the dark feminine? Maybe you're tuning in to figure out what the dark feminine is and what it isn't. It isn't, I can tell you first, let me tell you what it isn't. People like to think of femininity and form it in a frame that means only nurturing and kindness and sweetness. But there are several faces to the goddess that is femininity. Now, God, I was taught by my grandmother, is genderless. Okay? Now, when you look to the divine in the Christian sense, or the Catholic sense, or the Jewish sense, God is given as an all pervasive being. And often, I'm going to speak from the Christianity and the Catholic side because that's where I grew up. So if you have other perspectives, like if you're Muslim, please let me know how you view the divine because I'm interested. Because we're all faces of the divine. And any downplay of divinity in another is the downplay in the divinity of of oneself, and that takes away from that which is sacred. So this is the feminine essence. The feminine essence is typically direct. It may be watery, it may be, you can actually see through it, but it's all about what you choose to see and what angles you're looking at. So often I hear from other people, you're so masculine, which to me is kind of irritating because I am as feminine and as sensitive and as watery as it gets. But I'm a fire and I'm an air and I breathe life into this reality. Okay? That being said, femininity is not overly niceness, being quiet or subservient, doing what they call motherly duties, which is cleaning up after people, popping a titty in somebody's mouth. I don't think so. I mean, that's part of the gift of the female form, but femininity has nothing to do with being solely nurturing, overgiving, and taking everybody's shit and dumping it in the garbage or turning it into whatever. That's part of duties of all humanity as our species identifies itself through anthropomorphism, right? Everything we're going to compare it to ourselves so that we can understand our importance and our validity. I don't actually need to know my importance in this space because I was given that gift by the name alone. I'm driven by the divine to do what I do. It's a matter of listening and tuning in and slowing down. So, quick energy, not so much femininity. Dark femininity is slow and creeping, but when it grows, it comes in like a torrential rain, like a storm, like an earthquake, like a tsunami of energy and power and grace. So, Femininity is not overgiving. Femininity is giving what is needed and is necessary. And that takes slow action because people will always demand and command forth what it is that they really want, but they don't necessarily need that thing at that time. Sometimes they need silence. Like, for example, when a child is learning something new, they may want to avoid that learning because it's difficult, or they may have troubles wanting to practice. But that's what the feminine does, is practices. It's water, it's waves. It beats itself upon the shore or the mountainside and slowly wears itself in to what the perfection that is etched out looks like. Imagine, if you will, you're a sculptor of reality. You're a feminine energy. You're a wild force to be reckoned with. You're going to beat against the rock, and the rock will crumble. There's no question. There's no issue. The rock will crumble. The question is, as a person, right? Because we're conceptually in physical bodies, what is it that we're choosing to beat against? Are we, from the patterns, the bridges, the aqueducts, whatever it is, are we honed in and not our natural selves? Have we been conditioned by our lineage to act a certain way for survival, to say nothing, to be silent so that we can survive? Or are we the ones that beat down the door? Are we the ones that break apart the cottage of the person who's oppressing us? Are we the ones who poison the food that kills the master that raped us and took our children and sold them off? What kind of feminine are you? The divine feminine rage is showing itself here on earth at this time because it's time. It's been speaking this whole time, but now the divine feminine is awake in all of us and knowing, because women are the best allocators of resources looking at ancient societies. Yeah. Women understand everyone needs to eat, and the hunter needs to eat a little bit more. But who have we been feeding in an effort to stay alive and being conditioned into someone else's pattern, what they want us to do? How many children and women and men, for that matter, have been violated sexually, mentally, emotionally, denied? And that's where the dark feminine rage comes from. So often we look at masculinity as this virile, fighting protector, but dark feminine is the ultimate protector. This world would not exist if it weren't for the oceans and the depth that they go. And the way that water moves and synchronizes with air and permeates earth and releases fire, because we allow fire to exist, to keep us warm, to keep us moving, right? Fire is needed to keep moving. But that fire, ultimately, masculine. The water, ultimately, the depth, feminine. Holding into the depths of the water, the power of the water. And what does the water carry? Life, creatures, being of place here, where I am. Ha, vai. Vai is water. Water is life. And they'll tell you that water is life. It is in the name. If you have cursed yourself a body of water through negative self-talk, lacking self-discipline, listening to people who do not have your best interest in hand, who were unconscious when they said, "Shut up, kid," or they hit you because like, to me, hitting is the ultimate disrespect, because I am water and you can't really do anything to water when you hit it. But what you can do is I'll remember that. I'll remember that. My body will remember it. and determine you and those like you as being unsafe, sexual violation. All of these are imbalanced uses of femininity and masculinity. To penetrate, we think as of power, but actually, to resonate, to relax, to soften is power. To defend is necessary, but it's not indifferent to femininity. So, what is it within you that you need to defend? How are you going to embrace your femininity? And I tell this in a way that's very feminine. It's not a here are the bullet points. Here is exactly what you need to know. Here is how you regurgitate it back to me to tell me that you know it. That's imperialistic. That's patriarchal. That's linear. Whereas the feminine is the embracing of the spiral, the understanding of the wind, the knowing of the nature of you and that which you have come. The divine speaks through you, it speaks through your water. Real women, real dark feminine, know you better than you know you. It's a matter of trusting. We're afraid, so afraid of the deep, of the dark, that we suppress it, that we confuse it, that we put all these different things in its way so it doesn't flow properly. We redistribute and side off the rivers, saying we know where the water should go. When in actuality you don't. You don't understand the abundance and the fecundity that is the beauty of working with earth and water. Water moves. You can try to direct it, but it moves back to what is its natural space. And if you keep subverting water, you kill off lands, you kill off ecosystems, you have huge balls of fire. And sometimes fire is needed. And that's why there's fire ecology. But water is life. So pay attention to what you say to water. Pay attention to what you say to fire, because they are forces to be held and acknowledged and softened into. So, how do you tap into? How do you become more feminine? How do you allow the dark feminine to come through you? Trust. Slow down. Trust some more. Trust that it's safe to slow down. All of the chaos and the moving parts are there to confuse you. But if you take the time to acknowledge your gifts, who even are you and what are your gifts? Do you even know? Maybe your gifts are different than you think. Oh, I went to college and I got this degree and I spent all this money, or I was trained at this job, or my family did that, so I'm supposed to do that. That's not it. Sorry, hun. That's called you've been guided through forced man manipulation to get you where they want you to be. But where do you want to be? What? Because nature flows. If you're having issues flowing, you know that you are not in the right positioning or the right mental space moving. And if everything in nature has slowed you down to the point where you have to sit there and feel and deal with it, don't overindulge. Don't distract yourself from yourself. Learn to feel in your body, learn embodiment, learn feeling, not only externally the skin, but what's happening inside of you. Realigning your matrix. Here we go. So I'm going to do a little bit of energy work while I'm talking. Okay? So you're going to feel this shift if you're paying attention to you. Take a deep breath in, fill your lungs. Feel the bottom, feel it, feel the bottom. Feel the top. Can you feel the difference? Collapse. Does it happen like a wave or does it happen all at once? Feel it like a wave now. Feel at the bottom. the top, let it crash over, and breathe. Now this softens up the heart space. Now we can start to feel emotion. We're going to open up as we continue to take these breaths into the now, the gut, the stomach, the second brain. What is your gut telling you? Can you feel it? Take one more breath here. Do you feel uncomfortable? Do you feel at ease or not at ease? Technically, part of you should definitely not be at ease based on where we are circa January 26th, 2024. The earth is not at ease. The people are not at ease. So you will not be at ease. Don't run away from that. Is it bringing in other energetics for you? Are you starting to feel connecting the dots? There we go. You don't want to feel that. That's pain from childhood. That's pain from your divorce. That's pain from your breakup. That's pain from you not being acknowledged or abandoned or neglected or abused. Here we go. Reconnecting the dots. It's okay to feel it, allow it process through. Now, on this next breath, I want you to connect all the way to your sacrum. Squeeze your lower tentian, your booty hole, for lack of better words. There's some muscles there. Pull that energy down. Take a breath in through the nose, squeeze, and release the breath and release the muscle. Let it hit like a wave. There we go. The brain is doing its best. When you tap into this matrix of energetic feeling, right? And we're not using the brain. We're not going here. We want to reach up here in the divine space and allow God to channel through us. But if you haven't controlled your mind, you just at least need to learn how to feel your body first. Your temple of water. You can train your brain. There's a lot of suffering happening. There's a lot of people ignoring suffering. There's a lot of people drinking, overutilizing medicines, earth medicine, spiritual ego. Spiritual ego is very interesting. I'm almost I'm shifting out of being embarrassed by how tapped in I am spiritually because I was conditioned that that's not okay to have those conversations. That's not okay to say that you can see through people. Something's printing. I don't know what's going on, but this printer is turning itself on right now, people. Tapping in, tapping in, tapping in. I don't have to understand. Understanding was used for survival. Good, bad. Survival, not survival. Condition, reconditioning. And through generations of oppression, we've all been conditioned in different ways. So whatever's going on up here is trying to understand externally how to survive, and it has programmed several layers of survival through what we were given ancestrally and what we have in this lifetime. And we will always have the viewpoint of that which has scarred us the most and first. And so when we have atypical meaning different than what is ideal and what is normal. If we don't have a loving mother, and we don't have a loving father, and they were put under stress when they were creating us, let's say the mother was being abused or the father was abused in his childhood, you're going to get all of that and you're going to have to process it, or you're going to make somebody else process it. And that is why understanding the depth of your water, the depths of the information that's been programmed in you, is the most integral. So how you tap in and to dark feminine energy is understanding yourself, looking at things that may not be comfortable for you, and coming to realizations that you may have been wrong. Maybe you're not unlovable. Maybe you're the most lovable being there is. Maybe your viewpoint of another feminine because your mother was a certain type of feminine has skewed how you're able to see them. Maybe you can see past your pain and you're able to receive that love. Maybe you can see where that other person's issues are, and maybe they can't see them. But are they projecting that at you? Are they then turning that into somehow it's your fault? Which means they're trying to get rid of that energy without changing it and alchemizing it through them. They're willing to physically hurt you or emotionally hurt you or manipulate you because they don't understand their waters, their feminine essence, their dark energy. And the dark masculine is a whole nother episode. So we'll get into that later. We're talking about dark feminine right now. I love me so much that I've created boundaries and routine. The routine, the boundaries, both feminine and masculine in nature. The femininity gives me permission to explore and express what I have gone through. Are you able to express what you've gone through without getting sucked into the story of it? Without falling in love with the story that you think identifies you, because really what identifies you is you at this moment right now. At any moment, the winds can change, the waters can move, and things can shift. Even things you think are hard rocks, hard stones, can be worn down through self-reflection and compassion and understanding. And boundaries, right? When water moves, it has a sense of freeness to it, but it also has a repetitive nature, a flowing nature. And it does come back, but in a different space than it was before. Like the waves, the water comes out, some of it moves out, and then it comes in and then up again. Boom, crash. There's so many ways to embrace the feminine. Start with feeling in your body, and the darker aspects are, what is this? Is it intuition or is it patterning? Is it intuition or is it boundary seeking? People are scared often of what they don't understand and they judge based on what they've experienced. And I think all these people are out of control, so you must be out of control. All of these people are very rigid, so you must be rigid. I'm one of the most judgmental people, judge people, judgmental people that you'll ever meet. But I'm very judgmental of self, which means I must be very judgmental. However, in my lack of judging, people will hurt me, or I allow myself to be open and vulnerable, especially in love, because I thought that's what was necessary. But it's okay to have boundaries. And the dark feminine understands boundaries. They understand where their limits are, and they will shout about it. They will make it known. Now, the question is, will the inner masculine show up to help reinforce those boundaries? Well, the dark feminine allows in the masculine energy to reinforce boundaries, to reinforce connectivity. The intuition says that there is no boundaries. But we all know that by the limit of having flesh, there is a boundary to my flesh. The limit of having an energy body, there's a boundary to that energy but it is limitless, and it collapses in on itself. The cell divides and replicates and creates more. There's always more as long as there is. And when there isn't, there isn't. There becomes less. So by acting within the boundaries, you can create the space of divine infinites. So all this is to say, don't be scared of the dark feminine. Yes, there's a sultriness to it. There's an attraction to it. There's an alluring. There's alluring to it and addictive properties to it. The divine nature of a dark feminine herself is a very addictive space. Once you start self-healing, you don't stop. You keep going. And you switch the timelines for yourself and your entire generation. At any moment, you can switch. The question is, do you want to? You don't actually have a choice. We think things can stay the same, but they never do. The only constant is change. The only constant is water. The only constant is movement. The only constant is change. Allowing space for things to be different than what you thought they were, different than what you expect them to be. Let the universe surprise you delightfully. This world will clean herself and save herself from those who are not aligned with her purpose. If you look at what's happening globally, you'll understand what's happening internally. And when you make the proper shifts and the proper changes and the proper boundary shifts, and you defend what needs to be defended, like that inner child, like that voice, like those external children, like their voice, you value them the way you value yourself, you will see a deep, deep shift. It's okay to slow down. It's okay to turn everything off and just be. Listen to you. Wake up. Wake up. Divine feminine. Divine protector. I think that's it for now. So, yeah, don't get me fucked up. I will burn all of this shit to the ground. I will drown every single morsel of injustice. This is a divine message. The people have wept and cried long enough. The powers are shifting. The time is now to hold on to your alchemy. Those who are lost in the chaos of themselves will find themselves lost in the chaos. There is no retrieving the broken who refuse to be mended with gold. The gold that is their tears falling down their faces. Nature hears. The earth is calling to her children. She is cleaning house. And those who hold on to power when there is none, when there is only death, shall hold on to death tighter than those who understand it is time to release into the flow of humanity. It is our golden age as it upcomes now. The altruistic spaces fill the voids like golden kitsuki laced shrapnel of peace. One day, we will all be free. And those who claimed that they were doing this shall hold on to the death of 1,000 deaths, of 1,000,000 deaths. They shall transcend into the darkness in which they held true. They will weep as their ancestry is melted before them. And those who are vilified under all of this shall rise to the top, shall be glorified and upheld in this new world that we are co-creating. The spaces are for them. The money disappears just like paper burns. For every child that have lost in innocence, corruption will be the seed of the corruptor's downfall. There is no fear, there is only life. Abundance comes to those who wait and seek the richness within. Well, I'm gonna have to watch that back. I don't know what I just said. Love you. I pray for us all. We're gonna have a beautiful life this time. And for those children who are being reborn, I pray you have more than everything you could ever desire. As heaven on earth is here. It's been a complicated moment for humanity because ultimately those in power have been corrupted by that power because they think it's absolute. But we only live to enjoy this earth, and they shall be born in to the highest places. We think that it's our duty to make others think the way we think or see the way we see, but it isn't. Our duty is to stand fast and to heal so that the next 7 generations will be free. Our jobs are to pray, to understand, to grieve, to release. When we take it upon ourselves to view ourselves and integrate the feeling of ourselves as sacred, then everything becomes sacred. It's not about the material, it's about what you do with it. So I pray for all of us. I love you. Stay blessed, stay golden. If you are interested in detox products, look below. If you are ready to heal yourself, go for it. Ciao for now.